Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
This is your show today.
We have a little spring in our step. I call it a spring Kölsch.
A Kölsch, spring Kölsch.
Spring Kölsch.
And this is a recipe that Chris Colby and I developed for you.
Yes, you did.
On Basic Brewing Radio.
And you are very gentle in terms of the recipe.
We were nice to you.
You were very nice to
We
me.
didn't.
We didn't have 84 ingredients. We had 4.
So it was Reinheitsgebot?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. So you want to pour?
Yes.
And you want me to
pour,
talk?
and you
so
talk.
This is what happened, I think. These guys got together, and Chris Colby, who's out here somewhere in Texas. And so James and Chris got together, and they talked, and they developed a recipe for the, what series?
The Recipe Development Series.
Recipe development. See, I should have known that.
On Basic Brewing Radio.
And so
These are Steve Wilkes pours. I should have.
Vigorous Pour was my first my first tag on Twitter.
Stall.
That's all. Yeah, stretch. Anyway, so these guys, they came up with the recipe, and then I got the recipe. It's like, and I think I was saying like, I need to brew a spring beer, and James said, yeah, you want to brew a beer, and so I ended up brewing this beer because of that conversation.
Do you want to hear the story? We got time.
Yes, we got time. It's just a simple little.
I was talking to Casey up at Imperial Yeast, and I said, what beer should we brew next for our recipe development series? And she said, what about Kölsch?
Kölsch.
And I'll send you some Dieter, which is the yeast to go into the beer. And so I said, that sounds great. And so Chris, and then you and I were having lunch, and you said, I think the next beer that I want to brew is a Kölsch. And I said, hey, have I got a deal for you?
That's right.
Chris Colby and I are about to formulate a recipe for a Kölsch. We'll do it for you, and we'll just pass on the recipe to you. So that's the whole story. The beer has grown, as they used to say.
It's a happy little beer.
So why don't you give us the recipe
while
we're waiting on the rest of the foam to subside enough for us to drink.
This might be the simplest beer I've ever brewed in my life. I mean, bar none, from the very first beer I ever brewed, this might be the most simple beer.
Because you didn't mess with it.
Because I didn't mess with it. And it's not my recipe. Here is the recipe. It's 9 pounds. This is a 5-gallon recipe in U.S. gallons.
19 liters.
19 liters. It is It's just 9 pounds of Pilsner malt and Dieter yeast, and 0.6 ounces of Calypso. Yeah, yeast. Calypso hops. God, I can't talk. Calypso hops. And initially the recipe was supposed to have been Tettnang or Hallertau or a German noble hop, which I couldn't get locally. And so I went with the hop that I felt was closest to a noble hop that was available to me, believe it or not. And it happened to be Calypso. And then I just designed a brew to get the IBUs that I wanted.
Right.
So I was looking for 26 or so IBUs, 25 IBUs. This beer on paper is 26 IBUs. 9 pounds of Pilsner malt. I don't even know what kind of Pilsner malt. That's our homebrew shop.
Let's say avant-garde.
Let's just say avant-garde. I don't think it would matter that much.
No.
But anyway, 9 pounds of Pilsner malt, 19-liter batch, Dieter yeast, 0.6 ounces of Calypso hops. That's it.
So just a bittering charge at the beginning of the boil.
That's it. Super
simple.
And I brewed it in the Carver Center for Fermentation, which is my garage. And
so what Dieter is a lager yeast, but or it's a German.
No, it's an ale yeast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a Kölsch. It's a Kölsch yeast. That's right.
But you can still lager it.
Right.
So lagering just means to store.
Right.
Just means store it at a cool temperature.
So did you, after primary fermentation, did you rack into secondary?
Yes. So I did a primary fermentation actually in my open bucket. So this is what an open bucket looks like. It's like this. It's like an old trash can, but it's a brewing bucket.
Right.
And so I did a fermentation in there. After it was done fermenting, when it reached terminal gravity, which was 1010, I racked it to a secondary, which is my, plastic fermenter for Monster or whatever it's called. I put it in my secondary beer refrigerator, which is at I think 36 degrees, and I left it for a month.
Oh, so conditioning.
I bulk conditioned it for a month in the refrigerator in a 5-gallon carboy. Then I bottled with a half a cup of honey. That's it. That's the beer.
Cheers.
Could not be more simple.
It's delicious.
That's a good beer. I like that beer.
Super clean. It's not the clearest beer in the world.
No, I thought it would clear out a little bit more. I think maybe that's
Did
because...
you use any finings?
No.
I use Larry finings. Look at it.
I thought it would be, but you know what though? I did go to the grocery store, or not the grocery store, but the liquor store, and they had a German Kölsch. I bought a 6-pack. This is as clear or clearer than that German Kölsch, believe it or not.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, I know. Don't get mad at me out there in viewer land. But this was actually, I think that commercial version must have had a little bit of Vienna or something like that in it because it was a little more coppery. I'm not going to say the brand because I one, can't pronounce it, and two, I'm not quite sure. But I'm pleased to say that my little home-brewed Kölsch, fermented in my garage in April, and then stored in my refrigerator for a month, and then bottle conditioned in a home setup, where you go. It's good.
It's dang good.
It's just, yeah.
Sometimes the best recipes are the simplest recipes. You know, it's nothing but malt,
Gosh.
and just enough bittering to make it balanced and crisp and clean.
And I think the Calypso hops, in terms of having any kind of little fruitiness on top, not too much.
I can't detect it.
I don't get it, So I think, once again, so if you can't find, so I went to my local homebrew shop and I was trying to get Wireman or Avant-Garde or something, Pilsner hop, and then I wanted either Tettning or some form of Hallertauer. Didn't have it. So I thought about, well, which hop, and then if I'd had Magnum or Warrior or whatever, I don't think it would have mattered that much because I just put in the bittering charge,
Right.
just to reach the IBU level that I thought would balance the beer, and that you guys had specified.
Yeah.
Like we're looking for 25 IBUs. I think that's what the recipe called for. So I just tried to get as close to that as I could with a hop that I thought was somewhat similar to the noble German hops, and that's the beer.
So good. I don't know what else to say about it
don't
except
e-
it's nice and crisp and clean and delicious.
Yeah.
And
This
it's perfect. I think, I don't know, I get, like I say, some beer snobs would say, oh, it's not perfectly clear, but so what?
It's pretty darn. It's got a little glow. I call it a glow.
It's a New England Kölsch.
Well,
but look at the lacing on that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean the beer came out great.
Yeah.
It's a good beer, and I don't know how different it is from like a super light American this or that, but it's a great summertime beer, great spring beer. I was hoping to have this to last me into 4th of July, but it ain't gonna make it. I can tell you, because I got a couple of cases of it sitting down. I'll just put 2 in the fridge. Well, you do that like once every 3 or 4 hours. I won't drink it so fast. I just put 2 up.
Just another 2.
Just 2 more.
Where did they all go?
I don't know.
All right, brew this beer.
Yeah, brew it. It's so simple. It's cheap.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't cost much to brew. 9 pounds of Pilsner malt. 1041 for the pre-boil gravity. 1045 for the original gravity. Finished at 1010. I don't remember exactly what the ABV of that is, but it's a 4.5% or so beer. So you can drink plenty of it. You can mow the yard. You can do the gardening. You can go fishing. You can go to the cookout. And you can share it with your uncle that drinks Bud Light, and he'll like it.
Yes.
I promise. Yes. That's the main thing with this beer. It's a great sharing beer. I couldn't. Is that oxygen?
Okay. All right, we're gonna go.
We're going to go.
We got one more show to shoot. Show to Bye. Come and visit us online at basicbrewing.com. You can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on homebrewing. You can also find our DVDs and our brewer's logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer.
I really wish Foster Brooks could deliver my eulogy. I really do. I've been thinking, I'm getting older, so it's time to start planning that kind of thing. I really want Foster Brooks to do it for me.
Do AI.
Can you arrange that?
Yeah.